Now, let's join ace broadcaster Mamode Akuga as he takes us inside the Niger Delta.
Hello out there and welcome. It's Inside the Niger Delta, the authentic voice of Niger's oil-rich region. I'm your regular host, Mamode Akuga. Stakeholders across the Niger Delta are expressing divergent views as the House of Representatives continues its probe into the pipeline surveillance contract awarded by the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited. The probe has also triggered calls from some quarters for the decentralization of surveillance contracts to other local security actors rather than the existing system, which they say is in the hands of a few individuals. They argue that this will strengthen accountability, improve security, and create more employment opportunities in oil-producing areas. However, others believe the current structure should be maintained, urging the government to take necessary steps to ensure peace and development in the Niger Delta, which they say would ultimately curb vandalism and oil thefts.
In rethinking Nigeria's security strategy, the Nigerian government adopted the engagement of ex-agitators in the country's oil-rich Niger Delta for the dual purpose of stemming oil theft that continues to bleed the country's purse and the incorporation of those locals into the oil and gas value chain. The surveillance job has always been a minefield of hot takes. While some would give credit to the arrangement for the Nigerian crude oil production averaging around 1.4 and 1.5 million barrels per day, others argue that the huge financial investment in the scheme is largely not commensurate with the level of success recorded. For example, Stakeholder Democracy Network (SDN), an international organization with an office in Port Harcourt into climate advocacy and livelihoods programs in the region, in its 2019 brief on pipeline surveillance, described the scheme as a misnomer used as a disguised payment for peace to agitator groups and as patronage for political allies. In fact, the Nigerian National Assembly is currently probing the pipeline surveillance contract, which are valued at about 2.1 trillion naira. The National Assembly recently held a joint investigative hearing by the Senate and House of Representatives Committees on Petroleum Resources to review the contract and the financial operations of the NNPCL, which is in charge of the scheme. The lawmakers revealed that the move is to interrogate the procurement process, funding structure, scope of work and performance benchmarks of the contract, as well as determine whether it is indeed curtailing crude oil theft and improving revenue generation. This is coming at a time when some stakeholders across the region are also calling for the decentralization of the contract, which they say has been domiciled in the hands of just a few individuals. A group who had a private meeting recently at the palace of King Ateke Tom in Okochiri, Okrika local government area of Rivers State described the current model as a single operator surveillance contract, which they maintained has deprived most people of their right as members of oil-bearing communities. Speaking to Inside the Niger Delta, an environmental and rights activist in the oil-rich region, Ankyo Briggs, an Akure-based legal practitioner, Sarafa Okeoye, see nothing wrong with the current surveillance arrangement.
The fact that an Ijoman has a pipeline contract and you now single that Ijoman out to probe him. No, probe the Olu of Warri. As we see it today, the problem of Nigeria is not pipeline contract as far as I'm concerned. If they think, as they seem to be saying, that Tompolo is being paid too much money, then that is between them and Tompolo's company.
A lot of millions of dollars were saved from that initiative, which I think, in my opinion, it worked. They should tell us why they are talking about decentralization. Because the danger is that means you are crowning some people to be in charge of certain areas, and there might be conflict of interest.
For elder statesman Chiefs Anap Saraigbe, contracting the surveillance job to an individual or sharing it amongst a group is all unnecessary. He instead proposed that the host communities where these oil infrastructures are located should be the ones to ensure their safety.
Appoint people from localities to protect their wellheads. Let the local community protect their wellheads and the pipelines within their environment. It will pay more. Give them hospital. Give them good school. Nobody will have time for your pipeline. But when the people are hungry, the people are starved, and you want them to be idle, wait for you, it's not possible.
In all this, one thing that is certain is that oil theft in whatsoever quantity is still a major problem that continues to gulp Nigeria's revenue. And for the General Secretary of the Petroleum Dealers Association in Ondo State, Olasogba Olakunle, and Felix Akinate, who is also from Ondo State, the major driver of this is poverty. They then contended that a more viable solution would be to provide proper and sustainable opportunities for the youths of the region.
It has reduced it, to be sincere, but it has not solved anything. On daily basis, our crude is being exported by unknown actors.
As long as there is poverty in the land, as long as we don't have our youth involved in something reasonable, as long as some people are still agitating that you give us our right as a member of a community that is being deprived, there will continually be an agitation. It can only be reduced.
With the current surveillance contract up for renewal, the central goal will be to find a balanced approach that will ease tensions, especially as the current administration pushes to increase crude oil production to about 2.5 million barrels per day.
Inside the Niger Delta.
As part of its core mandate to drive economic growth and prosperity in the Niger Delta, the Niger Delta Development Commission (NDDC) established the Niger Delta Chambers of Commerce, Industry, Trade, Mines and Agriculture (NDCITMA). Now, the Commission is taking it a step further by sponsoring a major economic and investment summit through the Chamber, aimed at unlocking business opportunities across the region. The chairman of the Niger Delta Chambers of Commerce, Ambassador Idiaren Ogan, made this known last week at a press conference held in Port Harcourt.
The Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC, was set up to, amongst other things, facilitate the rapid and sustainable development of the Niger Delta into an economically prosperous region. In line with this mandate, the Commission last year, 2025, supported the establishment of the Niger Delta Chambers of Commerce in order to ensure that businesses and other commercial activities across communities in the oil-rich region are given the necessary support and incentive to flourish. The Chambers of Commerce, which are now up and running in collaboration with the NDDC, are working towards a major Niger Delta Economic and Investment Summit scheduled to take place in May this year. With the team driving investment, innovation and industrial growth in the Niger Delta, the summit is designed to position the Niger Delta as a major economic hub beyond just oil and gas.
Niger Delta Economic and Investment Summit is expected to deliver significant economic, social and institutional benefits to the region by serving as a catalyst for investment, innovation and sustainable development. It will enhance increasing investment inflows, economic diversification.
For the chairman of the chamber, Ambassador Idiare Ogan, economic development of the Niger Delta will require the effort of all stakeholders, including government, the private sector, and the peoples themselves.
Public institutions must provide policy clarity, stability, and enabling infrastructure. The private sectors must bring capital, enterprise, execution, and innovation. Communities must be respected as active stakeholders in development, not passive observers of it. We must therefore move beyond fragmentation. We must choose coordination over rivalry, implementation over rhetoric, and measurable performance over endless aspiration.
Outlining some of the areas of concern to be attended to by the summit, Ambassador Ogan disclosed that President Bola Tinubu is expected to personally set the discussion in motion.
The summit will be honored by the presence of the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, as special guest of honor, and will feature the Prime Minister of Barbados, the Honorable Ben Amo Motley, SCMP, as keynote speaker, bringing a global perspective of economic transformation and strategic development.
This is coming after a recent Niger Delta Business Roundtable in Port Harcourt, organized by the Chamber, that provided an opportunity for businessmen and women, entrepreneurs and other stakeholders from the oil region to ask critical questions and prefer solutions to some of the challenges hindering businesses. For the NDDC, facilitating the establishment and its continued support to the Niger Delta Chamber of Commerce, Industry, Trade, Mines and Agriculture is to provide it with a special purpose that will drive economic development in the region without any form of political interference.
Inside the Niger Delta.
Bayelsa State Governor Senator Doyediri says his administration's ongoing investment in sports development is aimed at positioning the state as a leading sports destination in Nigeria, while also creating opportunities for young and emerging talents. Governor Diri, who was represented by his deputy, Dr. Peter Akpe, made this known last week while declaring open the 2026 Extraordinary General Assembly of the Nigerian Football Federation at the DSP Alamiseya Memorial Banquet Hall, Government House, Yenagoa.
Known for producing some of Nigeria's finest sportsmen and women, such as former Super Eagles player and coach Samson Siasia and the late Stephen Keshi, Bayelsa has remained a key contributor to the nation's sporting excellence. As part of efforts to maintain this legacy, the sports sector under the Doyediri-led administration in Bayelsa State has continued to receive attention with both infrastructure development and several programs designed to identify and nurture young talents. These include the Bayelsa Governors Football Tournament, popularly referred to as the Prosperity Cup, which is not only a platform for grassroots football development, but also an avenue for talent discovery and scouting for professional clubs and national teams. The state government is also complementing these efforts, especially with the construction of a 30,000 seat capacity stadium, which was flagged off in February last year. While declaring open the 2026 Extraordinary General Assembly of the Nigerian Football Federation in the state last week, Governor Doyediri, who was represented by his deputy, Dr. Peter Peretubo Akpe, reaffirmed the state government's commitment to sustained sports development in the oil-rich state.
Our commitment is not seasonal, as most of you will attest. It is rooted in our identity as a people and sustained by our belief in the power of sports as a tool for youth development, social cohesion, and economic opportunities.
Stakeholders at the event, including NFF President Ibrahim Musa Gusau, commended the Bayelsa State Government for hosting the event and the state government's continuous investment in sports.
I want to express our appreciation to the Executive Governor of Bayelsa State, and indeed the good people of Bayelsa State, for a great and warm hospitality we receive in this great Asian city of Yenagoa.
I am impressed by the hospitality of the Bayelsa State. Having been across your wonderful country, it is indeed my pleasure to be here.
Meanwhile, the chairman of the National Sports Commission, Shehu Diko, toured the ongoing stadium projects in Bayelsa and commended the quality and progress of work.
We have already awarded the National Sport Festival 2028 to Bayelsa State. We did that in order to drive the completion of this project, because that's the reason why we deliberately awarded the Sport Festival to Bayelsa State. After this, there will be a city around here, and people will build houses, businesses, and everything. So all other economic activities will be activated.
For Diko and other sports stakeholders, the continued investment of Governor Doediri in the sports sector is not only boosting youth development, but also enhancing Bayelsa's profile as a growing hub for sports excellence on the global stage.
Inside the Niger Delta. Ezekiel Group, oil and gas, dredging, power and air transportation. Ezekiel Group, petroleum product sufficiency, energy sustainability and infrastructure development.
Delta State Governor Right Honorable Sharif Oburewori says his administration is complementing ongoing infrastructure upgrades in the state's health sector with adequate manpower to ensure efficient service delivery for the people. Governor Oburewori, who was represented by the State Commissioner for Health, Dr. Joseph Onojame, made this known during a press briefing last week where he revealed that the state government is recruiting over 700 medical and non-medical personnel across various health facilities in the state.
The health sector in Delta State has continued to witness transformation with renewed investments in both infrastructure and human capital assets. These include the procurement of 32 slice and 64 slice CT scan machines for Central Hospital Warri and the Delta State University Teaching Hospital, DELSUTH. Others are the procurement of ventilators, dialysis machines and 3 1.5 Tesla helium-free MRI machines from Siemens to be distributed across hospitals in the 3 senatorial districts of the state. In addition, the Delta State Commissioner for Health last week disclosed that the government is recruiting over 700 medical and non-medical personnel to ensure round-the-clock healthcare delivery for Deltans.
I must really commend His Excellency for bringing out the initiative to approve the standing order to replace all health workers in the state. This approval is because of the expansion that we're having currently in the health sector.
Dr. Onojame further explained that the state government is strengthening its healthcare training institutions to sustain manpower development, citing the newly completed College of Health Technology of Rode in Isoko North local government area of the state. He also said the state has commenced the construction of a new state public health laboratory and a psychiatric hospital to expand specialized healthcare services in the Big Heart state.
Before now, we have no public health lab in the state. During COVID, you all are aware, most of our sample goes to Abuja, NCDC Abuja and Irua. But currently, the public health lab that we're establishing in the state is near completion and the equipping is on the way. So with that facility, we need human resource to man that facility. The same thing with the neuropsychiatric hospital that we're building in the state.
For many Deltans, Governor Oburewori's continued interventions in the health sector, including the Delta State Contributory Health Insurance Scheme, which now boasts about 3 million enrollees, are worthy of commendation. These achievements, they say, are even more remarkable considering the simultaneous development efforts the governor continues to push forward across other sectors of the state.
Inside the Niger Delta.
The new government directive banning commercial motorcycles from operating at night and mandating their registration to combat insecurity in Ondo State has sparked mixed reactions among residents and riders. While some residents describe the move as a step in the right direction, others argue that it may do little to curb criminal activities, insisting that motorcycles are not the only means used to perpetrate crime.
Following the reports by authorities in Ondo State which linked crimes such as kidnapping and armed robbery to commercial motorcycle operations, otherwise known as Okada, the state government intervened with a regulation on commercial motorcycle activities across all 18 local government areas of the state. The directive, which took effect from Wednesday, March 25, 2026, restricts motorcycle movements between 7 p.m. and 6 a.m. while exempting security personnel and other essential service providers who use motorcycles. It also mandates that all motorcycle operators and users in the state register with and obtain certification from the Ondo State Security Network Agency, otherwise known as Amotekun. The Ondo State government has also banned the activities of cart pushers involved in scrap metal collection and other services across major towns in the state. Reacting to the development, some residents in the state capital, Akure, who spoke with Inside the Niger Delta, welcomed the policy.
Very good decision. Perfectly okay. Because in the daytime, people will see them, but in the night, nobody will see them. They will just commit the crime and go.
Because the way they are kidnapping people is too much. Even bike own, they are doing their own. Keke people, they are doing their own. It's still going to affect us, but they are still doing it for our own purpose and then for our security.
Others, however, remain skeptical, arguing that the restriction targets only a fraction of those involved in criminal activities.
The purpose of banning Okada is not the issue, or it's not the thing that can stop the kidnapper. Because kidnapper, they are used vehicle, they are used motor to kidnap people.
For Ayodeji Joshua, a social commentator in the state, the decision of the state government is just a starting point. He called for broader reforms that will strengthen the entire security infrastructure.
If you tackle bike today, they will find other means tomorrow, either by truck. Every place there are foreigners within the state. Go into the nooks and crannies of your state. Find who are the foreigners there. Collect their names. Put them in a proper database. Identify leaders of even within the forest. So in case anything happens and they tell us they went to this forest, we call the leader there and tell you, they said they came to this forest. Let's be, if everybody should be, I feel a census should be done quick in this country so we know everybody that is around.
Inside the Niger Delta.
The Niger Delta Development Commission NDDC is expanding its focus beyond infrastructure and socio-economic development to include the preservation of culture and tradition across the region. At an Arts and Culture Expo organized by the Commission in Akwa Ibom State last week, the Commission showcased the rich diversity of the Niger Delta through vibrant performances, drawing applause from spectators who commended the initiative.
At the heart of the Niger Delta Arts and Culture Expo was a vibrant celebration of identity expressed through dance, food, and traditional attire. For generations, these cultural elements have defined the people of the Niger Delta, telling stories of their history, beliefs, and way of life. The Niger Delta Development Commission (NDDC) is taking deliberate steps to preserve this rich cultural heritage by supporting initiatives like this Arts and Culture Expo. Last week in Akwa Ibom State, the NDDC brought this diversity to life through the third edition of its Arts and Culture Expo, featuring performances and displays from all 9 states of the region. From colorful dance performances to cultural pageantry, each contingent showcased the uniqueness of its people. The Akwa Ibom State dance troupe, dressed in vibrant traditional attire, delivered an electrifying performance that drew loud cheers from the audience. With precise body movements and energetic drum beats, the Delta State troupe put up a stunning performance that earned resounding applause from the crowd. The Akwa Ibom State representative on the board of the NDDC, Apostle Abasiandi Kanunkono, who represented the MD, Dr. Samuel Obuku, delivered the MD's goodwill message.
The cultural show here has reinforced the unity that exists in the Niger Delta. And the MD, is someone who is not just a visionary, he is a transformer. And so his aim is to keep transforming the Niger Delta, not just on the project side, but on the culture side.
The Director of Youth and Women Affairs at the NDDC, Ahunna Imone, and other dignitaries present say the initiative is aimed at fostering unity and ensuring that the rich cultural heritage of the region is preserved for future generations.
We don't want our culture to go extinct. We want our culture to be promoted.
Anywhere in the world, by your culture, somebody will be able to identify you. Somebody will be able to say, yeah, this person is from this particular area. Every one of them did so well, represented in their beautiful colors and in their culture. We must keep doing it.
Participants at the event also commended the Commission for sustaining the initiative, noting that such platforms help keep traditions alive in a rapidly changing world.
With this Gen Z thing all about, it's like our culture is no longer as it used to be. But thank God for this program. It's making us realize that culture is everything. I want to plead with the Directorate of the NDDC to continue with this. We are rich in culture in Niger Delta, and God will continue to expand us.
As technology advances and societies evolve, many traditional practices are gradually fading, with young generations becoming less connected to their cultural roots. Through policies, education, and continued support for cultural initiatives, government agencies, communities, families, and individuals must continue to pass down traditions, languages, and values.
Inside the Niger Delta.
Well, that's the size of our package on the program for today. Inside the Niger Delta, the authentic voice of Nigeria's oil-rich region, will be back same time, same station next week. Until then, you can follow us on our social media handles showing right now on your screens. And please remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel at NDNTV Nigeria for these stories and many more. Until next week, I am Mahmoud Akuga, thanking you for staying tuned. Bye for now.